In world athletics, something that has been, let me just read the story for you. World athletics are scrutinizing the case of Rana Reider after the globally renowned sprint coach admitted to having an intimate relationship with one of his athletes. The 52-year-old, who had been the subject of an 18-month investigation into multiple complaints of sexual misconduct, was formally sanctioned by the U.S. Center for Safe Sports on Wednesday after accepting there was a power imbalance in the dynamic with an adult athlete in his group. A statement by Raiders lawyer Ryan Stevens said the American was not found in violation of any other sexual misconduct claims, with the coach placed on a one-year probation by Safe Sport in order to take an online course. Bizarrely, Safe Sport have issued no statement of their own, nor were they prepared to comment when contacted for comments. Their punishment for Raider has drawn raised eyebrows from significant elements within the sport. There remains a possibility of further sanctions from further afield for Raider, who coached British Olympian Adam Gemili until last August and was also working with Daryl Nater prior to her departure in the months after the complaint became public in November 2021. Owing to his situation, Reider, who has trained a number of track stars, including Olympic champion Andre de Grasse, was denied accreditation for last year's World Championships in Eugene and then received a police caution for being on site. It remains to be seen if he will be granted access to this year's Worlds. World Athletics said in a statement on Wednesday, "We understand the U.S. Center of Safe Sport has issued a decision regarding the Rana Reider case. We have not yet had access to it, but as soon as we do, we will consider any implications and communicate further." It sounds to me like, because this matter is kind of complicated, um, he is a coach who had a relationship, a romantic one, with someone he was training. Now, there's a question of should he do something like that, given that the athlete may feel pressured, even if he never overtly came out with that pressure, made her, told her in uncertain terms that if she didn't date him, there would be an issue. Even with that being something that never seemed to have happened, the query here is he right to date someone who he has the authority to pick for, or pick for a team that he's in charge of, or even drop her if she refuses to date him? What do you make of this
So,
story? Because I think it's in one way it's saying that the athlete has no capacity to say no and has no capacity to stand up for herself should he decide to then punish her for saying no.
of course, I think, you know, and this is a very, very sensitive talking point. People have this mindset that romance in workplace is recipe for disaster. So, especially in sports where you know that you are a coach, you are a mentor, you are someone who dishes out order, you are the one dishing out instructions for people to follow. When you infuse romance in that circle, you open the floor for um, dissent. You open the floor for disregard in some instance. So I understand that that is a very, very tricky thing for the guy to do, which I wouldn't advise anybody to do. But also, I think it's not something that would require a full blown punishment or a full blown repercussion, because if it doesn't affect the game yet, why are you punishing him? He's not committing a crime technically. There is no rule that talks against it. It's just on a moral level. It's just on a personal level. And if it's not affecting the game, I don't see where the punishment comes in. That's just the way I see it.
Well, I'm not certain because the report isn't fully out yet. we're not certain if the said athlete he was in a relationship with came out and gave a statement to the investigators, or if I'm sure they would have reached out to her, they would have wanted to hear her side of the story. But it doesn't seem like, because it feels to me, if her side of the story was that she felt pressured to date him, then the punishment would be more severe. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that occasion. I agree with you, but it still boils down to the fact that it has to relate to the game. If it doesn't affect the game, if it doesn't affect results, then there is no call for any form of um, punishment or whatsoever or sanction. It's just about calling both of them aside and knowing, can you continue like this, or should we end it for the good of the team? That's just what I feel. But it's down to the individuals involved.
All right. It does. I think the coach has already suffered some consequences even before the report came out. Him being
Yeah, which is
banned.
unfair, I
Yes.
think.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Gbenga, for joining us on the show. Always a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Have a good evening.